Welcome to a special video session on using system trail stops on MT5. Process is very similar for MT4, so it'll do for both platforms, but we are going to cover the whys and wherefores and show you a live example that we've just recorded. So just to revision, what are we trying to achieve with trail stops? Quite simply, we're trying to retain as much profit as possible in a position that goes in our desired direction, so managing profit risk. Additionally, of course, we can reduce initial risk if beginning to trail as soon as the position's opened, and also it can be used in combination with accumulation approaches. We've got 4 choices in our approach for trailing a stop. Obviously, we don't have one and just rely on an initial stop and profit target, or just do something informal. Use a price-orientated indicator as an indirect trail, so for example, a MACD signal line with or without a safety net stop in place. Use what we would term a passive trail, which is a trail to break even or above at a specified price point. And then there is what we term an active trail, which can be manually, which is what we normally do, but we can also set an system trail whereby the system will automatically do it for you. This is of course useful if you have a trade that you've opened and decide that is likely to continue overnight, and you obviously don't want to be up throughout the night trailing a stop. And the key question is, how is your current approach serving you, and whether looking at a system stop would actually add to your trading game. So how does a system trail work? Well, what we're doing is we're entering a position with an initial system stop, so a normal stop that we place on any trade. We set the trail stop with right-clicking on the position in our toolbox at the bottom, and we choose our points for the trail. I'm going to show you a real example of this in a moment. Now, just to enlighten you on how this actually works, the price has got to move at least a point value to commence trailing. So if we have a trail stop of 10 points, it's got to move 10 points at least before it will start to trail to the upside. Subsequently, any price change in the trade direction updates the trail stop to the set point gap that you've put onto the system. And again, this will make more sense when I show you an example, both theoretically and live. Now, a key point is that the number of points that you set as your system trail are specific to each instrument that you trail. So each instrument has a different way of looking at this. So let's show you an example. So let's say we set a 500 point stop as a system trail, which equals 5 index points. So in this case, our US 500 position was entered at 318.17. and our initial stop was put at 3795, and there's the current price just over entry. What happened next, of course, is over the course of time we saw a rise in the price, and subsequently we saw the stop trailed on the system to this level. There's current price, there's where it's been trailed to, and you'll notice there is 5 points difference. So as soon as it starts to trigger, it will keep it at 5 points difference irrespective of where the price goes. So once it gets up to 3834, or in this case 3835, you see it's just pulled back a little bit on that one. You see it moved the stop up to 3830. And indeed, this was what was ultimately triggered, giving us a profit of $206. And that was automatically set up at the time of entry. That's the attraction of this, with no need to watch it. Now, the challenges with this is, first of all, as we've already indicated, to know your system trail points. So with indices, we are talking put in your points times 100. So if you wanted it to move 10 index points, we put it on the system as 1,000. With FX, it's times 10. So a 10 pip move is 100 system points. And with share CFDs, 1 cent is 1 system point. There are other considerations. First of all, how many points do we set? And we could use things like a multiple of the ATR, or we could use our risk level. So for example, if we set our stop 20 pips below our entry price, we could say, well, look, let's use that 20 pips risk level as our system trail as well. How long can or do you leave it before you check back in it again? Some of you may be quite happy to leave it overnight. What is the spread? And just be aware that at various times of the day the spread may change, particularly in the quieter times of the market, often at the end of the US day. We'll see the spread widen significantly before we click into the next day. And of course, what may happen in higher volatility times, particularly if you're setting it on an ATR level, is that ATR may increase significantly. So for example, if the Fed Reserve is releasing an interest rate decision in the middle of the night, it's going to change it significantly and could well be triggered. But that's, of course, is far better. You're just leaving it and losing everything that you perhaps have gained to date. So you've got to make decisions about what's acceptable to you. And then, of course, plant your flag in how you're going to set this up, test it, and refine it as you get a critical mass of trades. So now we're going to just show you a real deal video. Now what I've done with this is I've set quite a tight stop onto a system trade so you can see what happens from initial trade to actual trade exit. So we've just entered a NASDAQ 100 position, or just on the 15-minute chart. You can see there we entered the position, just one contract at 11,131.79. We put a stop loss just for the purposes of this at 11,100, and you can see we're slightly down on the position at this stage, but that's okay. So we right click on here, we open trail stop and go to custom. Remember, an index is 100 times. If we wanted to do it on 10 index points, we'd type in 1,000. That's way too close for the NASDAQ, but we'll give it a try, and we'll just see 1,000 points there, and you'll see it's already moved the stop up 10 points. There we go again, we see it move again. So we're now waiting for it to be more than 10 points ahead of the current trail stop. So if it gets to 11142, we should see this move again, or alternatively what will happen is it'll come down and trigger that stop. It is very tight, just to show you how this works. Here we go, you'll see it's just moved again as it hit. So we're now looking for 11143, and it should move again. There we go, it's just creeping up, locking in profit as we go. And once again, we've seen it move up, so we're waiting for a break of 11143.92, and it'll trail it up again. And once again, it's moved up. You can see it's now at 1146. We should see this move in a moment. We just saw it tick up then, and there we go. It's up to 11138, and so we'll now be looking for 11148.29 to shift it up again. But it could well come down and start to trigger this. And let's just see where the trade levels are on this. You can see now the stop is now triggered on this, just as we moved out there, as the position disappeared. If we just go to history, trail stop has been triggered, and there is the trade in front of you there. So we hope that's been useful. Of course, if there's any other questions you've got, please drop us an email. And the challenge is now, of course, to go and do it. Good luck, and we'll see you again soon. Bye-bye for now.